Hey everybody, what is up? It is Bullen. Happy Friday. Welcome back to my channel. We've got a lot to get into in this video. Now, there's a lot that I want to get into. Just said that, duh. But let's crack on. I'm going to sit here and start doing my makeup. There is so much drama going on. We've got stuff with James Charles. We've got stuff with some drag drama that is actually to do with a drag race queen, former drag race queen, Britta. Girl, this is a lot. Let's get into it. Okay, so I started mapping out a basic kind of start on my eye. I'm going to grab my Pink Religion palette and we're going to get into all this drama. Well, the first thing isn't really drama as such, but it's something that's happened within like the queer community, and me being a queer person, it's something that I want to talk about. It is a little bit more serious, you know, than being like funny haha drama. It's not shady, bitchy, funny haha drama in my book, you know. It is, like I say, something that's a little bit more serious. But I want to talk about it because it's something that I saw over on IG. And I only saw it this morning, but it was actually posted yesterday. And it's to do with Britta. Now, Britta, you probably know Britta from Drag Race. Britta, famous queen from New York City. Now, this whole thing is crazy, but Britta was asked to perform at a church and basically has been receiving a lot of hate ever since. So the video went up on IG and I went and looked at it. There's a ton of hate comments underneath and it's quite shocking. Britta's made some statements which I'm also going to read out for you. And I'm going to go into a little bit more detail about it too. So the story goes, Grace Church High School in Manhattan, New York, had Britta there as part of their Pride celebrations. She was asked to go and put on a performance for the students. Now, some of the students have spoken to the New York Post since this happened, and they've said that they felt pressured. There was a lot of social pressure to go and attend this performance, yada, yada, yada. Girl, no. I mean, I'm not trying to like invalidate those people's feelings at all, but, you know, I don't like the attitude that they said they felt pressured, you know. It was part of a Pride performance, and a drag queen or a drag performer is going to be at any Pride celebration. Britta was brought there, you know, by the school sponsors and also by some of the students. They arranged this event. So I'm now going to get into what Britta had to say on her IG.
Britta said, "It's interesting to be in this position again, to get thousands of messages of hate directed towards me. Articles and videos with my name and face have made its way all around the world this week from numerous fire and brimstone outlets. I was asked to be a part of the Grace School Church's annual Pride Chapel, where students from the high school gather to listen to their LGBTQ+ faculty and peers talk about their experiences as proud members of the LGBTQ+ community. As an LGBTQ+ drag activist, I was asked to be a surprise for the students and perform somewhere over the rainbow, to talk to them about being their authentic selves, because growing up queer and Mormon, I was afraid for so long. The fact that I'm getting hateful messages from people who are disappointed is not surprising. It's proof that there is so much work to be done with diversity, inclusion and acceptance. The point is, look how far we've come, and to have things like a Pride Chapel and to have a drag queen in a church spreading love, light and acceptance. That was such an important day for these LGBTQ+ students. And me performing in a church was proof positive that there is so much more that connects us than divides us. It's important for everyone to feel loved and not judged, especially in a house of God. If that can't happen, then what are we coming to? I'm not afraid anymore. I'm here to use my art and activism of drag to make people feel safe, comfortable and loved in any environment. To let people know, no matter how different, no matter their beliefs, everyone matters, even the haters. It's disappointing that the far right continues to spew this anti-drag queen rhetoric. They are using this anti-LGBTQ sentiment as distraction while Republicans try to sideline important issues like anti-discrimination legislation, abortion rights, gun reform, housing rights and universal health care. Use this as a reminder to vote. So essentially Britta is using her platform to tell people to vote and not vote for the far right, which... I don't agree with a lot of the far right's takes on things. I'm over here in the UK, so our politics are a little bit different, but honestly, not that much different. We've got the Conservatives over here who are trying to take rights away from people all the time. So, I do get it. I do get what Britta is trying to say. And then she goes on to say, lastly, we don't have to agree with each other on everything, but we can still be respectful of each other and be kind, all of that. And then she does put up a little picture of the reel where you can see Britta performing in the church and the students watching it and all of that. And she just says, don't leave hate for the people who are leaving really mean-spirited, negative, nasty comments, hateful comments and spewing like their venom about how none of this should be going on in the church and all of that. She says we can try to educate them, but let's not go down to their level because that doesn't do us any good. Love will always win. Please instead just go and flood the comment section with love.
My channel is not like a serious channel, I would like to be able to come on here and at least make people smile or make people laugh, Sometimes I'm on here all dressed up, titting about with my little baby here, my little non-binary baby, I would rather make people laugh, but at the same time, when it comes to like politics, sometimes I do have an opinion and sometimes I do want to call things out, but I don't want that to be my whole channel, my whole reason for being here on YouTube. I do want to be able to have fun as well, of course, but this story just got to me when I saw this. So it was something that I actually wanted to come and share just because I think it's important to be aware of what's going on in the world sometimes, and just seeing this story with Britta, I was like, wow, she's really receiving hate and people are writing articles and putting kind of hateful quotes from students, alleged students, in there. And I was like, wow, this is a lot, this on top of, abortion rights being taken away for a lot of states in America. You do wonder what's happening, because it does feel a lot like the world is going backwards. There's also stuff that goes on over here in the UK that I'm going to talk about in another video as well. But let me know all of your thoughts. As Britta said, yeah, okay, we don't have to agree with each other on everything, but people can still be respectful and, let people be who they are. People don't have to mind if people are queer, but, oh yeah, of course, because it's the far right, they have this kind of rhetoric, this narrative that drag queens are inherently bad, drag queens are perverts and all of this stuff, when we know, as queer people, we know that's not the case. We know that is not what is going on. But this is the narrative, unfortunately, that the far right is very much trying to push right now. And it's concerning, it is concerning because soon we're going to have a lot more violence. If this is what they're going to continue to do, we're going to have a lot more violence and a lot more killing of queer people. And as a queer person, believe it or not, that is something that fucking concerns me. Hi, sorry, editing me here. So yeah, I've ruined the final look reveal now, but yes, editing me here just to say on this whole topic, this whole thing going on with, the narrative being pushed about drag and everything like that, about it being perverted and wrong and this and that, when it comes to people judging queer people for the way that we are, there's a lot of that clearly going on in America right now. Also, it's going on in the UK in some instances. But what I'm going to say, what I'm going to add into the topic is that I try not to judge anybody for their religion, for their beliefs, whatever they are, whether they're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, whatever. I try not to judge anybody when it comes to religion because it is very personal, and I just don't hate on somebody because of a religion, So it sucks to see that, people are hating on queer people just for an art form like drag. But, I just wanted to put that in here So I'll leave you guys with the rest of the video now. But we're going to move on now, slight change of pace, because we're going to talk a little bit about James Charles. James Charles was recently called out on the No Jumper podcast. Now, I don't really know the guys who were kind of calling James Charles out. I know it's the No Jumper podcast. James Charles was called out for the fact that he's still on YouTube, the fact that he's still on TikTok after allegedly sexting minors. You know, James Charles, I've seen him all over social media lately talking about his own makeup brand, about how he is going to be launching that next year. I've been seeing him non-stop talking about it. He's mentioning it in TikToks. He's mentioning it in IG stories. But here is the clip where James Charles was called out by other YouTubers on the No Jumper podcast who compared him to EDP45. Like, girl, EDP45, that was a really serious case where he actually arranged to meet up with teenagers. James Charles, I don't know if he actually met up with teenagers, but he did, of course, go on his own YouTube channel and admit that he'd been sexting minors.
I'd rather a pedophile be out the streets than I just wish they would keep that same energy with James Charles, but you know,
but they can't keep him off of TikTok. Like, he keeps making new accounts and just like blowing up. He has like 100,000 followers.
But like, isn't it just crazy? Like, you know, EDP got sniped off everything. And then, like, you know, all this stuff comes out about James Charles and everything.
But do you think James Charles was actually going out of his way to fuck young men? Or do you think that he was just, like, being careless with who he was DMing?
The first 2 times, give you the benefit of the doubt.
Right.
But, like, you know, when it's like 5, 6, and, you know, you're out here, so you probably know even more stories that, like, you know, the rest of us don't even know.
I try to, like, keep my ears closed in terms of James Charles weirdo stories. But, like, I will say this, is that when I interviewed James Charles years ago, which was, like, at the very kind of beginning of him blowing up, I remember just thinking to myself, like, this dude is so talented. Like, he has so much energy, so many ideas. Like, he's going to be fucking huge. And then I'll admit, it's kind of, like, makes me sad to see very much sidelined about the fact that he just apparently just can't control himself enough to, like, because, like, all right, him DMing whoever, it is what it is. But, like, he fucking, like, you're at a certain level of fame. You just can't be DMing random fucking people or random fans or whatever, and then some of them end up being underage. Even if I'm so inclined to give him the benefit of the doubt that he didn't do it on purpose, you know. But you still just like, how can you keep making a mistake over and over?
How can you give someone like 6 times?
Yeah, right.
Firstly, I am laughing my ass off at the fact that they compared him to EDP. Anyway, I am laughing at that because, you know, yeah, he was a real legit pedo. It was proved that he was, you know, arranging to meet minors who were as young as 13 and stuff like that. James Charles didn't quite do that, you know, but yeah, he did sext people who were underage. I mean, yeah, there were a few kind of false stories put out by Deaf Noodles. Few false stories that were put out by Deaf Noodles when it comes to James Charles, but then there were real ones, you know. So James Charles sat there and admitted it on his own YouTube channel. He admitted what he did. He's got to live with that mistake forever. You know, he's got to admit that he was in touch with minors in the DMs. Yeah, he might not have known they were minors, but, you know, as these guys said, you know, if you're a famous person with that level of fame where you've got like 24 million followers on YouTube, you can't be DMing random strangers to hook up. You just can't, you know. They are going to find a way to catch you out and catch you in something. It's not going to be good, you know. It is not going to go well. But 2019, James had a problem with that. Then again, you know, 2021, 2020, he was having problems with it. So, you know, like they said, how many chances do you give someone? You know, and it's not cool, the fact that James was talking to kids. That is, you know, point blank period. It's not cool, you know, but what do? You know, James has still got a lot of big famous beauty influencers supporting him and all of this. He's not going to go away. You know, he keeps on about his makeup brand, how he's going to launch his makeup brand next year and all of this. He's not going anywhere, you know. So, like, what do you do? What do you do? And yeah, you know, I'll admit that James is talented with makeup. He is talented with makeup. But also, you know, he's kind of effed himself over.
I I've been tagged in this video hundreds of times as if my palette being sold in TJ Maxx is supposed to be super embarrassing. Maybe I'm weird, but like, I don't see it that way. In fact, I honestly think it's like really cool, low-key. This palette is 4 years old. If you really think about it, most makeup products launch and are popular for like 4 minutes. So the fact that 4 years later people are still talking about this palette is a literal miracle. Like, millions of people have gotten their hands on this palette, which is the biggest blessing that I could ever ask for. Nothing can be popular forever, so of course, years later, it's going to be sold to stores like this because the brand's got to get rid of the stock. That's just how business works. Now, whether you love me or hate me, you can get a great formula for a super, super affordable price, so who cares? Like, I'm done. My contract is up. I bought my house with this palette. I bought my parents a house with this palette. My makeup line I've developed with the money that I made from this palette. I'm forever grateful for what this palette did, but I've moved on, and so should everybody else.
So this is going to be my finished look. Let me know what you guys think about all the Jamie Charlie drama, of course. All of the stuff going on in America with Britta Filter and what happened when she performed at a church. Let me know your thoughts, your opinions. You know, we don't all have to agree, as Britta said, but we can still be respectful of each other down in the comments and all of that. But yeah, I'm going to leave you with something wholesome. This is a little clip of Shane Dawson and Ryland Adams, taken from Ryland's vlog. Now, I watched Ryland's vlog this morning. So this is taken from Ryland's vlog, and it's talking all about how they finally found a surrogate to have their baby. So take care, stay safe, stay well. I will see you guys on the next one, and I'm going to leave you with this. Bye. Thanks for watching.
Update from really present time, because we woke up this morning to an email that we have found a potential match to be our surrogate.
Usually when things like this happen, I know, like I feel it. Like when I wake up, I'm like, something's gonna happen, or I can feel it. This literally was so out of nowhere. I like sat down to like drink my coffee and I'm like, ugh. And then I open my email and I just start like freaking out.
And I didn't have it yet. It like didn't come through to my inbox for some reason, and Shane's like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, I just kept saying what and refreshing my email. We obviously still have to meet her, and
no, who cares? No, we found one. Like, I don't care. She could literally be like, okay, so here's the thing. I'm like also kind of a serial killer, but like I'm like on a break, and I would be like, great, we're putting it in you. Come on, mama. Like, this is so crazy. Oh my God. And then just everything about her, like I was just reading through her profile, all of her answers to the questions were like exactly like a dream scenario. Not that it literally, she could have been a psycho serial killer and I still would have said yes, but the fact that all of her answers were like so on match with us, I didn't think this was gonna happen for a long time.
No, because we kept asking for updates and we were like, what's going on the surrogate front? And so it was so out of left field and so unexpected, and wow, I mean, like each step is getting so much closer to it being an actual reality. Like thinking that it might be real for us this time next year is...
Well, yeah, and we also, like, I was doing the math, and I was like, well, because it might take a few months to, you know, the egg process and all that. So then I was doing the math, and I'm like, well, if it takes 3 months, and then if she's pregnant, and then 9 months later, then we'll have a baby in July, it'll be a Cancer!
Oh, no.